Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom and Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and oh my God, never in all of my days. This is crazy. So actually, I just got up not too long ago. I was getting ready to head out, do some errands for the day, go to the gym, all that good stuff. And I decided to just check my emails and whatnot, and what do I see but this huge breaking news that Khalil Mack is going to the Chicago Bears, most likely. So let's start with the specifics, actually, because there aren't a lot of them. Number one, and by the time I release this, maybe we'll already have the specifics, but number one, the Bears are still negotiating the contract. Now, I'm not going to make a Roquan joke, but I'm just saying the Bears are particular about their contract. But with Khalil Mack, I'm sure they won't care as much. I'm sure it comes down more to the money. However, as the Bears have shown, protecting their money is a big deal to them. And this is why this is important. The Roquan stuff, I'll say that. And it might not come to play here, but this is why it's important. A lot of people are like, oh, Roquan's fighting for the rookies, or why is he helping rookies? It's not about rookies, because now, say you're Khalil Mack and the Bears come with that same stuff, like we'll take guarantee money if you do this, this, or this. Khalil Mack's going to be like, no, the rookie was able to get language for this. I'm getting language for this, and I want more language. So again, that might not happen in this situation, but I'm saying that's what precedence does. This is why it was important. But anyway, so that's a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money, from the reports that are coming out. Aaron Donald and his contract, which I didn't even get to look at yet. I've been so busy, but for all reports is that contract is where really pushed the Raiders to say no, because they already didn't want to pay him a lot or as much as he wanted. And now that they got a new bar for highest defensive player, they were like, no. And so it seems like it comes from John Gruden, which we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so the Bears are negotiating a contract, a long-term deal, kind of like a sign and trader type deal, where of course they want to make sure they have them locked up. Once they come to terms with the deal, then they can make the trade. So apparently whatever the trade is going to be has been approved by the Raiders. They're just waiting to make sure they can get a deal with Mack. So it is possible that the Bears can't come to terms with Mack, but since they're reporting it, to people, then I would expect that they're going to find a way to make this deal happen. How horrible would that be if Ryan Pace and them didn't make this deal? But anyway, so that's where we're at right now. So we don't know what we're giving up. We don't know how much we're paying him yet, but you gotta imagine he's going to be, if not as highly paid as Aaron Donald, even more paid than Aaron Donald, which is a lot of money. And so maybe they want to protect themselves. So that's where we're sitting at right now as this recording. Now, going into this actual idea of getting Khalil Mack, number one, I definitely said it's possible. Like, people ask, like, what's the chance? It's possible. Of course, you could put together an amazing deal. You could get him. Obviously, the Raiders want to give him up. It's not like trading for Aaron Rodgers or something where the Packers are like, what are you talking about? No, the Raiders wanted to get him up. He was on the chopping block. So I knew it was possible. I always said the same thing. What it would take to get him, I don't know if the Bears are willing to give up. And so now with this, there's 100% guarantee that Ryan Pace is, I wouldn't say a gambler, but he's what's the word I'm looking for? Not hot-headed. He's I don't know. He's a rebel. He's a maverick. He goes out and gets what he wants. A lot of people said that about the Trubisky trade, but it was like, oh, it's Trubisky and you could have had him. That wasn't that crazy of a move. But other things that he's done now, you can't really at all dispute it. This guy goes out and gets what he wants. So, putting that together is very indicative of what type of style he has as a GM. Now we just got to see kind of what the terms are. So again, Mack was always there to be had. Having a team desperate enough to get him was always the key. and what you would give up. Another reason, a big reason I thought we wouldn't do this was A-Bomb, or Anthony Miller. I call him A-Bomb. If you remember, we got Anthony Miller by trading our future second round pick for the upcoming draft. And so I'm like, are they really going to give up their first round pick after they already don't have a second round pick? And we got to see. Maybe it's 2 future first round picks and not this draft. Who knows? But either way, it was one of the reasons I didn't think we would do it. So, and then of course, how much you got to pay. Everybody talk about the McCaskies being cheap, whatever. I don't know. I just thought it was concerned. And it's not even them, because let's talk about the reason why Mack is coming here. Because number one, whenever there's a big free agency or trade, people are so excited, but I'm like, you always got to look at the reason why is that player available. You hear sometimes if you watch GMs, that's what they always say, or former GMs, like, why is that player available if he's so good? And Khalil Mack is that good. And so a lot of times for me, it'll be a guy is not as good as his scheme, which I say a lot. 95% of the league is scheme dependent. And so people understand that they can replace him, or that if he goes somewhere else, he's not going to be as valuable. With Khalil Mack, though, that's not, first of all, he's played in multiple schemes in Oakland. Second, his talent level, he transcends schemes. If you want him rushing off the edge, if you want to put his hands down and from a DN 3-4 and stun inside, if you want him as a regular 4-3 edge in, like, he could do all those things. If you want him as a stack backer, as like where Roquan them plays, he could do that really well. Like, he is a absolute elite player. So it's not that, but if you look at Gruden, number one is kind of a power move. Like, this is my team. I got to set the tone early that no matter how big a dog you are, you don't run this team. Number two, they didn't want to pay him that much. And that raises questions to me, because with talent like that, again, it's the why. So it might be an injury, it might be an attitude thing. One thing we know is that when they fired the D coordinator last year, Bruce Irvin and Khalil Mack kind of, not a revolt, but they led kind of like a protest where they didn't go to practice or whatever, got in trouble for that. So obviously not outspoken, cause that's just a small thing, but he has attitude when he wants to use it. And so that doesn't make him a horrible player. Doesn't mean he has a horrible attitude. It's just something to note. And so it very could much be that him and Gruden butted heads. And it might just be about the money. Who knows? But again, if like the Bears, if the Bears are paying that money, then why didn't the Raiders pay that money? And especially they're going to Vegas. Come on, you need a star. But Gruden said he'd rather use that money to get multiple players than give it all to one player. And Gruden's old school. I pretty much knew that he would feel that way coming in as the Raiders coach, where he's not about to, like, he always talks about how he hates valuing, one player, so much more than the rest of the team. Like, there's captains and things, but there's difference between that and giving one guy all the money. So I wasn't shocked by that at all. And it seems the Bears have kind of always had that same philosophy. So why people call the Bears cheap sometimes is not different than what we've kind of been, where we don't want to go break the bank on one player. We want to use that, spread it around and get multiple players. And that was really evident this offseason. So interesting is what I'll say. Interesting. So again, we got to wait to see the details to really dive into it, but he was available. And so now we got him. So now what does that do for the defense? Obviously, we know number one, pass rush was the question. If you listen to me for any time, you listen to me throughout the draft, throughout the preseason, I talked about how we need that opposite pass rush from Leonard Floyd. Now, there's a lot of people that comment, or I see online, that don't even think Leonard Floyd is worth starting, which is crazy to me. But Leonard Floyd, I talked about him before on the Player Spotlight. Go watch that for more details. But I would just say that he has been good, but he hasn't been as good as he can be, and that he has another jump to make. But then you had this little injury scare in the off season. And so, on top of Leonard Floyd needing someone aside from him, you also got the fact that he might not be there. Now, I would tell you, I was more encouraged seeing Isaiah Irvin, seeing Kylie Fitz in the offseason. But they're not dynamos. They're solid. Like I said, they're solid outside linebacker bodies. And we still don't know what Aaron Lynch is going to give us. But none of them are like pass rush dynamos against, starting caliber tackles. So it was still a question, even though we could set the edge, even though we could squeeze the line, we could play really well against the run. It was still a question of who's going to get us to the passer. And with our secondary, to me, again, not being the best, that is a huge benefit when you get pass rush, as I said before, to help the timing. Like if you watch Kyle Fuller, and I talked about against the Broncos, I believe, in that preseason game when he got the pick six, you gotta look at what precipitated that. You had Leonard Floyd winning with a quick move to the inside and getting in the quarterback's face. Now it helps the receiver fail, but either way, that put Kyle Fuller in a position where he could make a play. And so that's what we're going to need to make our secondary look great this year. I think they could be solid by themselves, but without pass rush, any team, they get ate up. And so now you're talking about bringing in Khalil Mack. Now you're talking about not rushing Leonard Floyd back if he's hurt. Now you're talking about Leonard Floyd not getting attention because I've said before, even with a decent pass rusher opposite Leonard Floyd, let's say Aaron Lynch was decent, you would get a little more opportunity from Floyd because teams won't scheme him as much. Now that you have Khalil Mack, it's all go. Leonard Floyd has no more excuses. He's barely going to get schemed up. I don't see people trying to balance attack us one-on-one. I see them slide in protection to Khalil Mack. And Fangio's gonna know what to do with him. It's not even a question. So I don't see Leonard Floyd being now what will happen though, I will say, is usually you got a strong side, weak side guy. Now there's a lot of things you could do, but usually you understand your best pass rusher is the weak side guy. He ends up being like a glorified stand-up DN coming off the edge in passing situations. And so usually the strong side guy deals a lot more with the run game duties against tight ends and whatever. So they can scheme and move the tight ends and move protection towards Khalil Mack, and he can handle it. But I think as far as how we line up, Leonard Floyd might switch positions and he might be the one more in the trash, I would say. And so that's going to call into question his strength and his ability to play the run, which I think he's good enough setting the edge and maintaining outside arm, but I don't know if his strength's at a level where he can, not get moved off the ball. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, Khalil Mack, he's a plus run defender too, so maybe you just let him be the strong side guy. But with football, there's 1,000 ways you can call it on each play, so I'm sure he'll be moved all over the place. But yeah, it's crazy. It's exciting to think about what the Bears could do with Khalil Mack. Cause like going into this first week, I'm just like, yeah, the secondary, okay. Kyle Fuller's not fast. Prince not fast. We could beat guys up. Eddie Jackson's looking better and better. Adrian will be okay. I'm like, okay. But now Khalil Mack, I'm like, yeah, we could rough some receivers up and really stymie the quarterback, not give him a lot of time. It's going to be pretty decent. Now, now with all that being said, we just got to kind of sit back and wait and see what the trade is. I don't know. I'm usually pretty decent when it comes to assets like players, but once you find out like the picks and stuff, I'm like, oh, that hurts. So I don't know how I feel once I see this. I'm hoping it wasn't something crazy. Like, to me, the max I could take is 2 first-round picks. That's the max I could take. Maybe 2 first-round picks and anything that's 5th round or lower. If it's anything 4th round and up, plus 2 first rounds, that hurts. If it's anything 3 picks and a player, depending on the player, that might hurt me a little bit, but we'll see, because you also got to factor in the contract they about to give him as well. So, but the Bears they had money, they had space. So yeah, we just got to see. It's hard to speculate, but as far as Khalil Mack coming to the team, yeah, that's crazy. I really think he'll respect Fangio. I think he'll respect, the position of being the Bears' top defender. And it would have been nice if he came in when Roquan wasn't a rookie. That's the only thing. Because he's going to take a lot of the spotlight, a lot of the leadership opportunity from Roquan. Now, that might not be the case. So, people think of stats and, all that is like, oh, that means you're a leader. That's not always the case. So Roquan, if he is the leader that we believe him to be, even with Khalil Mack, he'll command the huddle. So, but it's a very different dynamic when Khalil Mack's on the team. So I feel like Roquan's going to be in a different position than he would have been, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I think this is positive so far, as long as we don't find out we gave up the farm to get him. But, yeah, a lot of people wanted Khalil Mack. Now, before people jump on this comment section and say, yeah, I told you Khalil Mack. Yeah, we wanted Khalil Mack. A whole bunch of you, majority of you, were talking about trading Roquan for Khalil Mack. Don't come in here like, yeah, we knew that we could do this. No. A lot of y'all was like, trade Roquan for Khalil Mack. Roquan doesn't want to be a Bear. Silly. Absolutely silly. Now watch they trade Roquan and I'm gonna look silly. But if they trade Roquan, I'll be pissed, to be honest with you. I'll rant about that. But either way, don't try to get on y'all high horse for y'all that was talking about trade Khalil Mack for Roquan Smith, because that's a different concept than what we're doing right now if it's just for picks, asset, and a brand new contract. So anyway, enough of me talking. Get to the comment section. I know everybody want to talk about it. Bears trading for Khalil Mack. Not complete yet, but should be complete. Tell me what you think. I mean, yeah, just tell me what you think. Share it around. Please share it around. Get the convo started, people. Share it around to different people that don't know the channel. Thumbs up, subscribe. Remember, stay up and bear down.